welcome back. We got through week 1. Now we're on week 2, and we're off to a great start. 7 more weeks to go, right? But before you know it, the time's going to fly by. So I wanted to jump back on here and talk to you guys about one of your next upcoming assignments. For this particular course, it falls in an odd cadence where we have an assignment on the first week and then don't have an assignment on the second week. Generally, that doesn't happen, but let's take it as an opportunity to learn and maybe work a little ahead at our assignment number 3. But it gives us the opportunity to look back and see how our paper formatting is doing, because as I talked before in the discussion question video posting that I did last week, not everybody's been to school recently. Might have been a decade or more, or maybe their APA formatting isn't the greatest. So I want to revisit that and go through APA formatting for our upcoming assignment. So what I'm going to do here is I have my screen shared, I believe. Let me make sure that I got it shared. Let's share that screen. You should be seeing a Word document. There we go. All right, so I want to get you up and ready for our next upcoming assignment. So I want to move up this over here and move that over. Okay, so let's look at our upcoming assignment. So not necessarily for week 2, however, let's look at week 3, because on week 2, we just have our 2 discussion posts and our participation posts. Let's go down to week 3. This is just a little bit ahead, but let's go down here. Application of the PDSA model. So this is our Plan, Do, Study, Act template that we use for quality management or quality implementation. So I want to pull your attention to this little template that they have here to actually fill out your assignment. It says the purpose of part 1 of your assignment is to focus on answering all these questions. And then part 2 here is where you get to execute what you're doing. However, I want to pull your attention to something. If you go to the rubric, which I always encourage you to do on every single assignment you do, is look to see what you're actually getting graded on. And if you go back here, it says, while APA style is not required, however, the rubric grades for APA style. And I don't know why there is a conflict there. I've seen it in other classes. So to help mitigate that, let's just make a template right now that's in APA, and then it's a done deal, right? So I want to do 2 birds with 1 stone. We're going to show you how to format for APA and make a template for week 3's assignment. So grab your blank Word documents and let's get to cracking. So what I'm going to have you do first is start it at double space. So this little widget here, you're going to select 2.0 on double space. Press enter about 3 or 4 times. 1, 2, 3. That's where you're going to start your title. So we're going to center right here, center feature. And we're going to bold. And we're going to say this is where your title goes. And then we're going to take bolding off. Press enter twice. And then we're going to put your name. Your name goes here. And this is the institution name. You can say the specific department that you're in right before it if you choose to do so. And then this is the course name. So it's going to be HQS-610. I want to make sure I get this just right. Foundations of Quality Improvement and Patient Safety. Now on this, you're going to notice that it auto defaults to Calibri. You can use Arial, you can use Times New Roman. APA does not specify exactly what you have to use, APA 7. However, the consistency is key when you're doing this. Whatever you choose, stick with it and don't change your font style. So we have that there. Now you need to put the instructor name. and then your due date. And then this particular assignment is going to be due on November 22nd, it looks like right there. And then if this is for a later on course, obviously this video will get a little outdated, so don't go off of the dates too, strenuous, because I do like to use some of these recordings again in the future. All right, so we got that. Press enter. Now what you're going to do is you're going to insert a page blank or a page break right there. And do you see how it skipped to the second one? So next we're going to double click in the header and we're going to insert page numbers. So page numbers goes in the top right hand corner. So we're going to use this top right hand corner and then insert page numbers right there. See it? And it's going to be at current position. See how that worked? Now what you can do is you can just click out of that and it'll take you to where you need. So right here, right in the top, we need to repeat our title, but we're going to do it in bold. And then we're going to unbold, press enter, and we're going to go back to the left-hand side, and we're going to start our introductory paragraph. Now let's refer back to the rubric. I had it open. Okay, so instead of an introductory paragraph, they want you to talk about an aim statement. So the aim statement thoroughly describes what is trying to be accomplished. So how you create an aim statement, let's see, introductory paragraph. This should be about your aim statement. Okay, so the aim statement should involve your particular population, what outcome you're trying to achieve, what you hope to achieve, what you hope to accomplish, what do you want to carry out. But most importantly, it should be measurable and it should be over a specific time frame. So let's put some little key questions here. What are we trying to accomplish? Why is it important? Is the specific population? When will this be completed? How will this be carried out? And what is our measurable goals? Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in red because anything in red you should not have in your final paper. And then one thing that I want to focus on is writing things in the SMART method, the specific, measurable, is it achievable, over a specific time period. And when you write a SMART statement, that gives you a way to actually measure it and see if you're going to be successful or not in the outcome. So maybe my quality improvement project, because that's what we're working on. Let's go back to our syllabus. The purpose of this assignment is to analyze the application of a commonly used quality improvement model. Choose a quality improvement topic that interests you and conduct research on your selected topic. Using your research, complete the Plan, Do, Study, Act template, which is down here, to plan for the next step in the quality improvement process for your selected topic. All right, so we can choose any quality improvement topic that interests us. If you want to find something within your current workspace and your organization that you might know to heart or just want to learn something more about, I encourage you to choose that topic. For the example here that I'm doing now, maybe I'll talk about falls. Falls is often a problem in the acute care setting, and many quality initiatives revolve around that just because falls with injury can be incredibly detrimental to patient safety and also financial reimbursement for the hospital. It also has a downward impact on some of our HCAHPS scores for the hospital or our nursing sensitive indicators. And say if you're a magnet facility, for example, falls with injury are a measured sensitive indicator that goes into your magnet document submission. So let's talk about falls as an example. And maybe I want to impact inpatient falls on a progressive care unit. Um, let's see, maybe it's due to patient assignments. So let's see, say if the inpatient unit was made up of long hallways, and instead of, let's see, assigning or having the nurses sit right outside high fall risk patient rooms, maybe they're equally spaced along the hallway. However, maybe their patients are spread out all over the place due to acuity instead of being geographically located and close together. Maybe that might be causing high incidences of falls. So the SMART goal could be, let's see, if we change the geographic assignment, or if we did geographic nursing assignments with acuity factored in, would that impact our inpatient fall rates over the next 3 quarters as compared to prior quarters fall rates without geographic assignments being completed, only based solely on acuity? So that would be our SMART goal. I know it's kind of cumbersome, but since I put in 3 months, that gives me a target period to measure. The number of falls that we encountered is our outcome metric that we can actually use because we're using raw data. We have our target population because it's going to be a specific progressive care unit, and it could be, maybe it's a cardiac care unit. You can outline your specific population, and the outcome that you're hoping to achieve is a decrease in the number of falls. So that could answer all of your background right there. Give a little bit of a background story of why you're trying to do that. Maybe you use a software where it actually creates your assignments for you based on acuity. However, the software doesn't understand geography of your unit. And so maybe you can give a little backstory about that. So there's your aim statement. So let's see. And the aim statement in this particular assignment is kind of replacing your thesis statement. Okay, so what's the next part of this? Go back to the rubric. There's the rubrics. We got our aim statement. Next part is the measure of success. So the response thoroughly describes that the change is an improvement in what measures of success will be used. So let's copy that because that's what we want to actually achieve in its measure of success. We're going to go back here and we're going to make a header. And the way we do that, a level 1 header, we're going to center, we're going to bold measure of success. And I want to make sure that's in black font color because we actually want to keep that. And then you can see what I'm doing here is this is trying to prompt us of what we actually want to do here. The response thoroughly describes that the change is an improvement and what measures of success will be used. So in our prior study, we're going to use raw fall rate data or fall numbers as our measure of success over a specific timeline. So we'll just go through and answer that question. Okay, next on here, change concepts. What is this one? The response thoroughly describes what changes can be made to result in an improvement and thoroughly describes how change concepts will be tested. See, we already gave the backstory in our aim statement, and now we just have to kind of give our little intro to what this is. Okay, so what should our header be? Maybe change concepts. Remember how we did the header? Center, bold. Now remember, anything in red should not appear on your paper. Let's see, and then we're going to put a little, okay. Oh, there goes my lights. I have an automatic timer and it does not like me. The response thoroughly describes what changes can be made and result to an improvement and thoroughly describes how change concepts will be tested. So what changes would we made? Well, our change would be that we're establishing geographic assignments with acuities factored in instead of just acuities, so that the nurses' assignments would be, for lack of better terms, clumped together so that they're within, quick walking distance to each of their primary patients. So that would be the changes. Improvement thoroughly describes how change concepts. And then the test, how do we test that this would be done? So maybe we could do a pilot study, test a change. So we had a discussion question or a CAT question in our last discussion post on what a test of changes. Maybe we could do that. We can have a pilot unit and what is the term called? A randomized unit, a control unit, and we can do a test that way, or we could just use historic data and compare to new data and see if that changes anything. So we'll just go through and describe that here. Right. Next is our plan, do, study, and act cycles. So let's go back to our template that we have here. So let's make sure we're doing this, because here on this assignment, they wanted you to fill out this template. However, we are getting graded on APA, so we're going to do it both in the same way. So what are you trying to accomplish? We'll get that on the other paper. How will you know if the change is an improvement? We talked about that. And what changes can you make that will result in improvement? So this is the change concept. So we'll have all this in those 3 paragraphs. Now this is the plan. I plan to do X and cycle. I hope to produce. So we can actually talk about this in a paragraph form, but let's do it this way. Instead of just strictly paragraphs, let's integrate some bullet points. Nope, that's not the rubric. Here we go. So on our plan, okay, so here we can actually use maybe some level 2 headers. And how you do a level 2 header is instead of centering, you're going to keep it flush left. I'm going to type out plan. I'm going to bold that. And I just noticed here that flush left, it is not. There we go. Bold and black. So this is our plan. The response thoroughly describes the plan, what should be produced, and at least 5 steps needed to execute the plan. So right here, let's talk about the plan. As you can tell, I cannot spell. There we go, but you're going to get the picture. Okay, since these are going to be full sentences with bullet points, if they are a phrase, do not put a period at the end, but capitalize it at the beginning. If this bullet point can stand alone as a complete sentence, then you put a period at the end. So that's how you can differentiate if there's a period or no period at the end with your grammar. So right there, so you're going to talk about the plan and your 5 steps, and then you're going to talk about your 5 steps. Okay, so what's the next one? Let's talk about the do. The response thoroughly describes the anticipated or predicted observation that includes a minimum of 5 observations. So let's do this. Nope. Talk about the anticipated or predicted observations. And include 5 observations. Okay. Transition into your 5 observations. There we go. And then this is going to be observation 1, observation 2. Why did that happen? Trying to copy and paste these. If you're wondering how I'm copying and pasting so quickly, if you press Control C or Control V, Control C for copy, Control V for paste, that's how that's done. Okay. What's the next section? Do you see how we're breaking down this rubric? And it's just happening in sequential parts. Study. I don't know why that's highlighting like that. Oh, it's because of this. Let's fix that. Okay, so the reason the response thoroughly describes how to measure the results and compare them to the prediction. So in the aim statement, we talked about if we did a historical raw data on falls and compare it to the future after we implemented our change, that's how we can compare and measure the results. So just a small little paragraph right there. Now the prediction in this circumstance was that we would have a decrease in the number of falls. However, that may not be the case. We might actually end up with an increase. And with this, you might have to get creative and say, oh, we actually ended up with an increase and we saw an increase here, and then we can talk about it in the study section. So a little creativity may be needed for this assignment, but biggest factor is that you understand the concepts of how to do this. And then act. Let's copy this. The response thoroughly describes a conclusion based on completing one cycle of the plan and modifications to the next cycle based on what was learned. So maybe geographic nursing assignments didn't work out. Maybe we saw an increase in the number of falls. And so we would have learned that in this cycle, and we're going to revert back to having the software do an acuity-based approach where we assign nurses irregardless of geography. So include a small paragraph writing a conclusion based on completing one cycle of the plan, patients for the next cycle. I know I'm just retyping that, but I'm trying to get rid of that weird formatting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a reminder that these are not supposed to be included. They're going to be in red so that they're just a cue for you for when you're actually doing your assignment. Mechanics of writing, that just means go back, double check, make sure your grammar, punctuation, capitalization, any citations, everything's kosher, your headers, your titles, the formatting documentation is your headers and titles and APA formatting. So these are pretty much standard on every paper. It's an easy 5 points. So if you don't do it APA formatting, for example, you're going to easily lose 5 points. And the highest that you can get on this assignment would be 95%. Let's see. And then if we have any references, what we're going to do here is we're going to insert a page break. So it takes us to the top of our next paper or page, excuse me. We're going to center, we're going to bold, we're going to type in references. And we're going to press enter, and this is where our references are going to go. Let's go back to our syllabus. Analyze the application, choose a quality improvement, plan, do, study, act. We got that. This assignment requires a minimum of 2 scholarly resources. So let's put that on here. Okay. Perfect. That's a reminder. And then to help you out with some of this plan, do, study, act stuff, as you can see, I was getting those statements from this. This is actually a really good website on how to produce an AIM statement. It's from, what is this, the Department of Health? Is that Minnesota? Well, regardless. Yeah, MM. So this is a nice way to get it going. They have an example here. They have an example of how you write it in a smart format. I'm going to put this as a URL here in case you want it as a reference. That's not what I wanted. There we go. And then there's also another area. They had a PDSA like how to as well, a very simple go-to one that's actually a wonderful reference as well. I'm going to give that to you here. And then finally, I have a bookmark of a really wonderful APA formatting website. I'm going to bring that over. It's from Purdue University, and it shows you some of the in-text citation basics, rules, authors, books, electronic sources, audio-visual material. Like if you have a YouTube video, for example, they give you a sample paper. They give you examples of how to do things like with 2 authors or 3 authors, or maybe you have more than 20 authors or group authors. So I'm going to also give this to you. It's a great go-to. Copy that and put that here as please find some full URLs below. There you go. But don't include those on your paper unless you're using them as a source of evidence. Okay, and then what we need to do on all wonderful papers is we need to have a little bit of a conclusion. This should be bold, centered. Now with APA 7, you no longer need to say conclusion or have it as a separate header. You're welcome to still do that, or you could just start your final paragraph and just say in conclusion and do your final paragraph. That is personal preference. I honestly don't care what you do. I end up doing it like this just because otherwise I'll forget to include it. So just tie up your paper. And if you had a thesis statement, your thesis statement would go here again, but in past tense. Maybe you can revisit your AIM statement if you wanted to include that as a thesis statement. All righty, so there's that. I think we got everything, so let's make sure that we did. I'm not required to use APA, however you get graded. Sources should be presented using APA formatting guidelines. You're required to submit the assignment to Lopes Write just to check for similarities. And then let's look back at this. We got these 3, which we talked about. Did we get everything on here? I plan to, I hope to produce, and there goes my lights again. What would you anticipate, predict, or observe? So we got that. Study, describe how you would measure the results. What might you conclude from completing the cycle, and define modifications? I think we got it. So we got everything on this template. However, we put it in an APA format already. So I'm going to include this as a homework help announcement separately for week 2. And we'll go from there, okay? And please reach out if you have any questions. I'm here to help. You're welcome to text me anytime. You're welcome to message me via Halo and I'll get back with you usually within 24 hours. But if you text me, I'm pretty quick on the response. Alrighty, until we see each other again. I hope this video was helpful. If you're a pro at this, then maybe this video might not be the greatest thing for you, but otherwise, I hope it helps people that may not be so strong on APA formatting, or it might help you actually get through the assignment a little easier. All right, well, thank you so much and talk with you later.